It's about time you showed up, Fox. You're the only hope for our world.
I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me.
What's this game rated at? K for kids. Okay, yeah, I'm just... anything out of context is gonna, you can make it sound inappropriate or hilarious or whatever. I'm just reading too much into it.
Daddy screamed real good before he...
Okay, now that the game's true nature has been revealed, let's move forward. So obviously today's pick is Starfox 64. I love this game. Played it all the time when I was a kid on the Nintendo 64. Continued to play it here and there throughout the rest of my life. So I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but also a lot of current day love for it. So I'm really excited to talk about it today. Let's just jump right in. So what is Starfox 64? Well, to label it as simply as I possibly can, it's a rail shooter. What does that mean? Well, it's an action game where you shoot enemies, but you move on a rail. Basically a guided path. So you're not able to freely control where you go. Rather, the level's moving and you're kind of along for the ride. It's up to you to avoid obstacles and shoot down enemies as you move along the path through the level. At the end of each stage, a boss fight happens. I think that this is one of the high points of the game. The boss encounters are a lot of fun, and they're very different. Sometimes they're large spacecraft that have obvious glowing weaknesses. Sometimes they're creatures you have to fight and take down. Some are more simple, some are more strategic, and that balance is what makes it so awesome. They're all so different from each other. In a lot of the boss fights, it's also what introduces a thing called all-range mode. All-range mode shifts the game from the linear path style to a more open arena style where you're free to fly left, right, up, and down, outmaneuvering enemies and taking them on. Within the all-range mode, you also encounter Starwolf, a rival mercenary group to your own that you have to dogfight with. That's definitely one of the highlights of the whole game, and we'll get to that a little bit later. The game itself is not very long. It's like 45 minutes to an hour to go from start to end credits. And that sounds like it's shamefully short. But that's where Starfox 64 is unique. It's designed to be replayed. There are multiple paths to approach the final battle from. An easy path, a medium path, and a hard path. The cool thing though is you don't have to commit to completing one all the way through. You can actually shift. By completing optional objectives within levels, you're able to choose where you go next. And this is where you can go from easy to medium, or from hard to medium, or just all over the place. There's also secret warp zones that take you across the map, so you can really achieve a crazy order of events to go from start to finish. And that's where a lot of the fun is discovering what those objectives are so you can see every level. Or even just do a playthrough where you try to target only your favorite levels. It's really awesome. I do want to take this opportunity to briefly talk about the original game in the series, the first Starfox, if only because I'm never going to do like a dedicated episode for this game. I just don't think there's enough to talk about, so I might as well just sprinkle it here. But the main thing is that this game is very unique because it's an experiment. It's a tech demo. They were basically thinking, well, we want to do some new technology. We don't want to quite release a new Super Nintendo, so instead of upgrading the console, let's upgrade the cartridge, which is exactly what they did. You'll see on there that it says Super FX chip. I also really like the cartridge itself. Starfox is on there. He's like, yeah, this is my game. I'm Starfox. It's like just him by himself. Anyway, Super FX chip. It allowed for far more graphical sophistication than what the console was capable of doing. So it's really unique. I'm only aware of one other game that has the Super FX chip in my collection, at least, and that's Yoshi's Island, which doesn't use it anywhere near the same extent that Starfox does. Starfox renders like 3D polygons and graphics and stuff. Yoshi's Island is more just about creating all kinds of cool little rotation effects and other things like that. So let's take a moment to explore the original game in this series before we go back to talking about Star Fox 64, shall we? Them graphics! Oh, get out of the way, Industrial Light and Magic, Wignut Films, ATI. Do they still make stuff anymore? I don't know. So this is the original Star Fox on Super Nintendo, in all of its Super Effects chip glory. If you've played Star Fox 64, or if you're just recalling the footage you've already seen from what I showed earlier, you're probably saying to yourself, well, this looks familiar. Well, it should. Star Fox 64 is a remake of the original. Not just in spirit, but, I mean, design too. It's essentially the same game. You have multiple paths you can get to Venom, you control the R-Wing on a rail shooter type environment, you can do little barrel rolls to deflect shots, you can upgrade your laser, you have the squad mates bantering with you, every stage has a boss fight. It's really the same game, it's just a matter of the graphical and performance differences between console generations. The choice of color is really good. They spent a lot of time clearly trying to figure out how to make this game look the best given the limited presentation that the Super FX chip gives it, because this is like some kind of like crazy tech demo, right? So they had to be careful. They did a good job. A lot of the obstacles are like silver or blue. You can definitely see them coming. Enemies are typically glowing or flashing in some manner. It helps distinguish them from the background, makes them easier to shoot at. And it's also worth mentioning, the soundtrack is just awesome. The only real negative things I could say about it, number one, it's pretty difficult, and some of the difficulty is due to the control. I feel like it isn't the most responsive game, and I think that's mainly because it's just the D-pad. I think having a directional pad for a game like this isn't the greatest. I feel like when I press down or up or left or right, there's like this minute delay before the ship responds, and that caused me to hit a lot of obstacles that I really shouldn't have hit. The other thing is you don't have crosshairs, at least in third person. So there are missions where you're forced into first person and you have crosshairs. I feel like those missions are easier because I can actually see where I'm aiming. The rest of the game, you're in third person. The only way to aim is just to non-stop shoot so that you aim your stream of bullets at whatever your target is. But, you know, it's a product of its time. It was a test, and for a test/tech demo, they did a great job. If you're a fan of Star Fox in general, I would definitely recommend playing it sometime. It's definitely hard, you're gonna have to like adjust to it, but it is a great game. Alright, that's enough talking about the original game in the series. Let's refocus ourselves and get back to talking about Star Fox 64. Getting back into talking about the Nintendo 64 version of Star Fox, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is one of the key gameplay features, which is the ability to upgrade both the R-Wing's health and your damage output. In each level, you can collect gold rings. If you collect 3 gold rings, your health bar will increase in size. The number of gold rings that you're carrying on you carries over stage to stage, so if I end a stage with 2, I'll start the next one with 2, and thus I only need 1 gold ring to then expand my health. That gives the game some strategy, because you want to time your gold ring count with those harder late game levels to start off strategically at the beginning of each of those hard levels with the bigger health bar. Collecting a laser power-up will upgrade the R-Wing's weapons. You go from the standard pea shooter up to the twin lasers, and then again to the hyper lasers. You really want to keep the hyper lasers, especially for the end game. When you get toward the last couple levels on the hard path, not having the hyper lasers makes it extraordinarily difficult, if not almost impossible. This game has a lot of little nice details to it. Like, for example, if you press up on the D-pad or forward on the C-stick, you go first person. Let's check it out.
Flippy, get back here!
Oh, that is nauseating, dude. Oh, Wow, that is terrible. Let's never do first person ever again.
If you take too much damage to one of your wings, it actually breaks off, and that'll downgrade you from the hyper lasers back to the standard pea shooter. And this is where it can be very difficult, because if that happens at the wrong moment on one of the harder levels, it makes it all the more difficult, especially against a lot of the endgame bosses, like the Gorgon in Area 6 and Andross himself. With the pea shooter, it's an extraordinarily long fight.
Now that we're back in the swing of things, Starfox 64, I feel like the next thing we have to talk about is one of the game's most famous attributes, the voice acting and the characters. Sometimes it is too much.
You're not alone on your journey through the Lylat system. Fox is joined by his 3 squad mates. Peppy, the old wise rabbit who pretty much ceaselessly gives you tutorial advice.
You got an enemy on your tail. Use the brake. Use the boost to chase. Do a barrel roll.
Slippy, whose special trait is that he's terrible at flying and always needs help.
Slippy, watch out. Bogey on your tail.
Whoa! Help me! Thanks, Fox. I thought they had me.
Slippy!
He reveals the boss's health bars too. Big help there. And lastly, Falco, who is just kind of a jerk.
I guess I should be thankful. You worry about your own hide.
Your teammates aren't the only ones that are talking to you, though. All of the bosses do as well. And that makes for some of the most entertaining moments in this game.
Don't body just yet. Cocky little freak! Cocky little freak! Disrespectful little whelp! Are you gonna listen to that monkey? You're not as stupid as you look!
Probably the most memorable of all the snappy lines come from Starwolf.
A bomb has been planted at the base. Gee, can anyone take care of it? Can't let you do that, Starfox.
Andross has ordered us to take you down.
Happy!
Long time no see! Andross's enemy is my enemy! I didn't even have to rehearse that. I just know it that well. It's burned into my brain. Can't let you forget that, Mike.
Get to the pond, Froggy. I am the Great Leon. What the heck?
I don't want to talk about every single boss fight in the game, but I do want to highlight 2 in particular. My 2 favorites, basically. Let's take a look.
One of my favorite boss fights happens on one of my favorite levels. Who would have guessed? It's called Macbeth. This is one of the 2 levels in the game that features the Landmaster, which is a tank as opposed to flying the regular R-Wing. The gameplay's still the same, you're moving forward on your set path, but you're in a tank! Hooray! The thing I like about the boss of Macbeth is that you don't encounter him at the end of the stage. You encounter him all through the stage, right from the very start. It's this evil cargo train that you can destroy car by car as the stage progresses. The best part is how the final confrontation with the front of the train plays out. Sure, you could treat it like a normal boss fight and fight the mecha devil kite thing that he has, or we could flip some switches and send his train going the wrong way. As Falco points out, there's a fuel bunker coming up on the right side. If you manage to hit all 8 of the track switches before the master switch shows up, you can cause a very different ending to this boss fight to play.
Step on the gas. Good going, Fox. No! Get the brake! I can't stop it!
What have I done? Disasters don't just happen. They're a chain of critical events. Unravel the decisions that led to these final moments before seconds from disaster.
Well, that was intense. The other boss I want to highlight is actually on my least favorite level. A level called Aquas, where you're using a other device that's an alternative to the R-Wing, the Blue Marine. It's a submarine and you shoot torpedoes. This level is really difficult and I hate it, but the boss is really good.
This clam thing is easily the best boss in the game. Oh god, like you got there's so much going on. Like there's like the snakes are coming out of the top. You gotta take care of them, but you can't. There's all the clamshells opening and closing and pushing you back. There's the turrets. They're shooting at you. You can shoot them back though. You can take them out temporarily. You want the clam to stop shutting its doors, so you gotta shoot the membranes. But then you gotta shoot the thing in the face. You gotta shoot the eye. Peppy's saying shoot the eye, but you can't shoot the eye because the things are getting in your way. You gotta shoot the turrets. You can't shoot the turrets because the turrets shoot the projectiles. Your torpedoes hit the turrets. You take them out, you shoot at his eye, but the missile, the torpedo didn't get there in time. It gets intercepted, so you shoot it again. There's just so much going on. Oh my god!
That insanity and all that multitasking is exactly why I love this boss fight so much. There is just so much going on that you have to manage and take into account as you're fighting him. It's really difficult, but it's also really rewarding.
You did it!
There was something else about the N64 version of Starfox. I'm trying to remember here. Something unique about when it got released. Well, hello there. Who are you? I see you're playing Starfox 64. You wouldn't want to miss out on the Rumble Pak, the accessory that was made and released with Starfox 64. Check it out. Yes, it provides advanced force feedback for actions that take place in the game, giving you unparalleled immersion. Alright, thanks, dude. This game has multiplayer too. If we're gonna play with this, we should check out the versus mode. What do you say? Multiplayer? I believe this game supports up to 4 players, but we are just 2. I'll see if I can wrangle up some more volunteers. No, what do you mean? We only need we could play it right now. Alright, whatever. Okay, well, we can mess with this, but the versus mode, we gotta... Bob! You in? Well, that went about as well as I expected it to. Bob's not a very good loser. I wonder where that other guy got off to, though.
Excuse me, sir, a moment of your time.
He's probably fine. I mean, who cares? I don't even know who that guy was. But we might as well talk about the Rumble Pak that he so generously gave me.
The Rumble Pak is a pretty nifty little accessory. Just stick 2 batteries in there, plug it in the controller, and you're good to go. The Rumble Pak was marketed alongside Starfox 64. It works for some other games too, but Starfox 64 is the draw. And I gotta say, you can tell that it was designed with Starfox in mind, because it's very responsive to even the simplest of actions in the game. Some effects are pretty light, some are pretty intense, and for what it is and when it came out, it's pretty cool. Vibration is a standard feature in controllers nowadays, but back then, it was a new thing. Nintendo's always been one to experiment. I think it's time to start winding things down. I was originally going to cover kind of like, the whole game, but I've kind of talked about all the things I wanted to talk about or that I felt were worth talking about. I kind of want to leave certain things untouched, because I give this game the highest possible recommendation. It's fantastic. I recommend anyone watching this who hasn't played it to definitely try it out. It's such a great game, so I don't want to give away like the last couple levels or like the true ending. I want you to experience that for yourselves.
I see him up ahead. Let's rock and roll.
Well, alright, that's Starfox 64. fantastic game. Always loved it. Always will continue to love it. It is worth mentioning that although Star Fox 64 is itself a remake of the original, they have remade it again 2 times since. So they remade it / re-released it on the 3DS with Star Fox 64 3D. It's really good. Like, the graphical upgrade is really good. The music isn't as good, though. They changed it. I don't like it at all. And then they remade it again. Well, not so much the 64 version, more as it is the original, but bottom line is they did the same concept again with Star Fox Zero for Wii U, and for the most part, people don't seem to like that game very much. I had never played it before. I don't have a Wii U. I was waiting for a good deal on one. I heard it's not very good, though. But bottom line is, Star Fox is a franchise that's just riddled with the concept of starting at 0 every time. Star Fox on Super Nintendo gets remade as Star Fox 64, gets re-released as Star Fox 64 3D. Original gets remade as Star Fox Zero. Like, good lord. Come on, guys, make some sequels. Well, they did. Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault on the GameCube are both sequels to Star Fox 64, but they're kind of terrible. So it's a really odd franchise. Nintendo really has only found consistent success with a couple of their core franchises. Others have ups and downs, and Star Fox is one of them. So the future of the franchise is uncertain, but I will always love what came before. They're so great. Thank you for joining me on this revisiting. I'll see you guys next time.